I think the Hartmans are a perfect recipient of this award because nobody exemplifies the enthusiasm for the YMCA more than Grover and Annabelle. I served on the board with Grover. He loved the YMCA.
My connection with the YMCA started with Grover Hartman when they were in the planning stages, I believe, of building the Baxter Y, and he was very instrumental in recruiting membership and going through the neighborhood, and my house was the first one I think he went to. As I've learned through the years, he was just always happy, doing for others, helping in any way he could.
I really didn't know what was going on in Africa at the time in the 80s when I came onto the International Committee, and I thought, why did anyone choose to partner with an African community that we can't even visit because they're in a civil war? I thought, what a dedicated human being. He cared about what was going on in Africa before it was ever popular to care about what was going on in Africa. They needed the partnership more than anybody else did. And I think it helped me grow up a little bit. I think it helped me look at the world a great deal differently. And I know that without him pushing for that, we wouldn't be there, and there wouldn't be anybody there. He inspires me because he was so dedicated that he was able to push forward with something that wasn't popular and keep us with him. And we're still a partner with Liberia.
If I had to select a member of the century, Annabelle Hartman is my YMCA member. She is such an advocate of the YMCA, loves our programs, loves the YMCA. We had her stand before the governor and elected officials and talk about the YMCA. When she told her YMCA story and her day-to-day activities, she got the governor's attention and everybody in the room. She is such a great advocate, such a good speaker, and so enthusiastic.
When I met Annabelle, I thought, well, this explains so much. Annabelle has all the energy of three of me, all the enthusiasm, all the dedication that Grover has, only she's just extremely busy doing that on the home level. She was the Baxter YMCA cheerleader.
I went to a birthday party to celebrate Annabelle's 90th birthday, and there was a program there that had it's just full of listings of things that they have done. So I think that they would be hard to find anyone that had done any more for the people who really need help.
The YMCA would be a poorer place if they didn't know the Hartmans, because we'd be empty in international work completely, just void of it. I just think it's a gift that they gave the YMCA so much of their lives.
I'm inspired by the Hartmans just by their total devotion to the YMCA, their enthusiasm, their dedication to our organization and what it does. They're the perfect example of YMCA leadership.
Well, I just think Annabelle and Grover were wonderful people, and you don't find them any better anywhere. I don't care how far you look.
Well, anybody who knows John Price well knows he's a Cubs fan. And to be a Cubs fan, you have to have certain character traits that I think apply to the YMCA. Loyalty, perseverance, positive attitude. And John's been a Cubs fan for probably over 60 years. So when I think of him, I always think of that, but I also know him for over 30 years in his role in the YMCA. And I think those traits apply there as well.
John Price was always involved in Wise Men and Women. In fact, he served as the international president. He has, even when he was not active on the board itself, he continued to be active in the international committee. You can always count on him being there and bringing an international perspective to the committee and to life in general.
In 1970 and 1971, he was the international president for the International Wise Men's Club. We now call our local club the Wise Men and Women's Club. But one of the things that he accomplished during his administration was to have women become members of what prior to that had been an all-men's service club.
One thing that John Price was able to do is always show us the other side of the story. We were used to reading the newspaper, and I still remember when we had an appeal from the Jerusalem YMCA, and we were trying to decide if we should be one-sided or the other. He looked at us and said, "Let me tell you what I know about what's happening to the other side of this organization." I think we need to definitely make sure to keep this equal and level, because we need to remember that there are two sides to this story, and that we need to make very sure we are being fair to the people over there.
Well, John Price, like many members of our club, inspire me to keep doing it. The strength of our club has been this aspect of, in effect, doing the same thing over and over and over again, and no glory involved. You know, it's strictly a volunteer effort. And John's one of those people, when you look around when we were doing things, he was always there. Well, he's a perfect recipient of the award because it's for lifetime achievement, and he's a lifetime YMCA person. And I think the evidence is he's still active today.
Horst Winkler is a great recipient for this award because of his long advocacy for the YMCA.
He constantly would say yes, whether it was chairing the annual campaign, asking for capital gifts, giving his own support. Just over the years, he just always would respond to the needs of the Y.
And for those of you who may not remember, I think Will Peck, previous CEO of the YMCA, would want to say that Horst was a valuable mentor to him in the 70s and 80s, when things weren't quite as rosy as they are now at the Y. And because of Horst's input, help, wisdom, he and Will have made our Y the success it is today, and we are enjoying that.
Well, if there is a story about Horst, it's just his dedication to make the organization strong, his appreciation for what the YMCA did in Europe so many years ago, and the positive effect it had on his life.
Once he knows you well enough, he would tell you the story of how the Y helped shape his life. When Horst is approached to consider and think about a giving opportunity, he never just offhandedly says, "Oh no, I can't do that." He always thinks, he always stops and considers what his opportunity of giving means to other people.
After a report was given during one of our meetings about the fire at Randsburg and the trouble we were having in raising funds, they wanted to not only replace Randsburg, but they wanted to do some improvements too. Right there, when the report ended, Horace said, "I'm giving so many $1,000s," and he gave Michelle Goodrich his credit card. Right on the spot. Now that's leadership, and that's commitment to the Y and an inspiration to others.
Horst inspires me because of his dedication to be so appreciative of what the YMCA has done, to, 50 years later, to still say, it changed my life, and I will give and do all I can to make this organization prosper and grow.
It's actions rather than lectures. It's his own behaviors and his own expectations of himself before he would ask someone else. That he exhibits true leadership with